It's on change.org.
Chain link driver.
Chit chat can be retained. How about that?
Well, when we chat at the beginning, if there's something we want to keep, if I don't start the recording, it does, but I don't like starting the recording like without asking. Just seems rude.
That's absolutely, absolutely. How did you see that people of Morocco are getting to experience the RS5 before anybody else? What's up with that?
Somebody was driving one around. I think I saw this photos.
Oh, they're testing them at in a track. A guy, car blogger, Ryan Spots. He posted it. Literally, the the Avant is chasing the sedan. So
Is
there's
this on
four
Instagram?
cars. Yeah, it's on Instagram. Look it up. RAYAN dot spots. And he just posted it. I actually posted it on my story. I reposted it. So originally the four cars, two sedans, two Avants were driving around, and then he caught them testing, and the Avant's going sideways. It's so cool.
I mean, I think I'm trying to remember if I saw somebody make mention that now that it's past end of secrecy, they are probably doing some early drives, or maybe they're practicing. That looks great. Nice oversteer.
Yeah,
Small tight
yeah,
course.
yeah. Small tight course. So yeah, one gray Avant, green sedan, no, two red Avants, German plates though.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think of the new RS5?
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's too many people hating on the it's heavier than F-150 and oh blah blah
Is
blah.
it is it heavier than an F-150?
It is heavier than F-150. It's
Uh-huh.
actually there was a guy he did a parody. He says it's heavier than an F-150. It's heavier than a Ford Expedition. Blah blah blah. But it's still, man. I look at it and say more weight on the wheels. It means you can go faster.
Yeah, I get it. Like I get how we have to make this transition and batteries are heavy at the moment. It's going to add weight. There's some amazing cars out there that are very heavy. So, whatever. But weight is if you're a track person, you're going to go through tires. Like the RS e-tron GT is an amazing handling car from all I hear, like the facelift one, which I haven't driven yet. But like the performance with the hydraulic suspension and all very cool, all handles very well, but it's still a heavy car.
Listen, the number one thing for me, you know, let me state that. Okay, so I've had the pleasure, the opportunity, and the good fortune to drive the Holy Grail Avants, the really analog Avants from the RS2 to the RS4 build to the RS6. I've been lucky enough to drive the C6 RS6 Plus in Europe, the C7 RS6 in Europe. I get it. I get the thing, right? What I like is about this car is the size,
Yes,
right?
for
I
sure.
love my RS6. Listen, I was driving it. Uh, my wife just said, it's like, wow, we're driving RS6 for 3 days in a row. It's like, what's going on? You must really love this car. Absolutely. We
Mhm.
love our Tribute, right? But it's big.
Yes. I had it at Audi Club Nationals did the Carolinas a couple years ago and Tail the Dragon, right?
Mm.
And I took my RS6 at the time down to Tail and, I was there to work the event, but like I'm going to go have some fun on the tail while I'm there. And it is well the thing at the tail. Have you been to the tail?
Hmm. With my
Yeah.
RS6
Right, right. I forgot. You were down there for
in
with the RS6
Pennsylvania,
guys.
remember? Yeah.
Right. So for me at least, right, like well they tell you like don't, keep it between the mayonnaise and the mustard, right? The white line and the yellow lines and you don't cross over. The bikers tend to lean over, but whatever. It's not that wide a road. And I think what I don't like about the RS6 is what I also don't like about the modern 911, which is they're so wide and
Why?
so big that you're not really picking a line to cut an apex unless you're crossing a painted line. If you're not afraid to cross the painted line, which a tail can be tenuous at best, right?
Right.
Then you're really just keeping it between the lines, and that's not really all that. I don't find it all that fun, right? Like I find driving a road like that is more. Not that I don't find the RS6 is fun, and I did, but like I find it more fun when I can pick my line and cut an apex, and not have to be in the oncoming lane to do it. And so that width, I am curious how this thing is like, what, 4 centimeters on each side wider?
Hmm.
Like those
Hmm.
flares are cartoonishly big on this
They
car,
are.
which look amazing.
I completely agree. I think, without getting into explicatives, I think this car looks amazing. Now, do you want to nitpick on the placement of the Audi rings? Oh, it's half up, half down.
Right.
You want to nitpick on the carbon? It's not the weave carbon, it's the forged carbon. You want to nitpick
I think that's
on,
just a package, though.
yeah, it's like,
Right.
oh, alu trim is not available. Guys, we know nothing or nothing on the packaging of the car or what options going to be available, what interior. I saw some leaked images earlier today of an Audi exclusive interior on a blue car, right? It's almost like a fjord green blue car, and it had a Audi exclusive interior of a two-tone, like chalk seats with green, patches.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, there's an RS package. Now, does it show it has a loop package? I don't know. But again, we know nothing of the car. As it sits right now, I think it checks some boxes for an enthusiast in terms of size, in terms of
Yeah, definitely.
agility.
The,
Hey,
the, the other thing is these cars are not, they tend not to be track cars, right? And so for the people who are lamenting that, there are so many other cars you can get. If you want an effective track car, I wouldn't recommend an RS6 or even an RS5. Now, I have to say, the B9.5 RS5 competition that I had with the factory KWs was like legit good. And I'm curious, I have not driven an RS6 GT, have you?
yeah. Hmm.
Did it make a big difference? I mean, that had the KWs as well.
Yeah, but it's a heavy car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the carbon bits in the front and you've got the KWs, and
I mean,
great.
but Dish,
It's,
you just said it's a heavy car. This car will weigh what that car weighs.
I know, but it's a smaller package. See?
Yeah, but it's
Weight,
it's still heavy.
it's still heavy.
I
Listen,
I get that. I appreciate the package. Like I thought the B9.5 was the right size, so
it is.
I would love to get the smaller. But
Yeah, it is heavy. It is heavy. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I drove my 3RS and the RS6 back to back on the track. And I was scared driving my RS6. The thing just like, you feel the weight that car is pulling, and I had to point by everybody, including a Miata, and I'm
right,
like, this thing's going nowhere. You know what I mean?
right.
On air. But it is heavy. Listen, the elephant in the room is this is a 2.3 ton, right, wagon,
Mhm.
but I think it looks super cool. I'm so glad they brought the big fender flares. It's
Right.
aggressive. You can't mistake it for anything else. And that's why I am legitimately excited for this car to hopefully come to the US, right? And
Yeah, I mean before we jump to that, because I do want to jump to that, I definitely think I agree with you that not just my own opinion, which is just mine, right? Everybody's got one, but listening, putting my ear to the ground since the car debuted, whether it's mainstream press or whether it's Audi enthusiasts, I think the look of the car is a home run. Even though people have been kind of down on where current Audi design has gone,
right,
this definitely seemed to do everything right within that context, just as the RS6 does. Like I used to say that
right.
about my RS6, which is like I loved the car and I thought all as a whole, it's a beautiful, wonderful design. It's overstyled. There are too many things going on in the car. And but that's a nitpick, kind of like what you were saying with like you don't like the forged carbon, okay, you don't like the badge placement or the badge
Right.
design isn't an
Right.
italic or whatever. As I've seen some people comment about, like I agree, these are all things that we can fine tune, I suppose, for the most.
Absolutely. That's
Uh,
the aftermarket, aftermarket, community and enthusiasts are going to be like, great, I can build you another diffuser. I can build you another
right,
skirt. You want to place something else. Yeah, that's where then you can express yourself, right? Hey,
right.
you don't like the seats? You could put the RS6, the carbon seats from Recaro, right? But as a package, to your point, like let's go back to how you explained it, right? Within the limitations or confines of Audi's current design philosophy, right? I think this car's a home run,
Totally. The
right?
only beef I would give it is I'm curious how the final will look on the RS6 when I look at the two test mules sitting together, like the couple
Mm,
photo shots. I think Wilco Block, trying to
mm,
remember who else. A couple people got shots of the two cars
right.
together. They are strikingly similar in appearance, and
They are.
so that will be a bit confusing for people. But that's it. Again, that's a nitpick. It's a home run. I think
Yeah.
everybody everybody went from like kind of lukewarm to cool on the B10, and now like the B10 groups I'm on Facebook are like, everybody's kind of hot on this car and what it means, and more than likely there will be an interior improvement between now and when the car arrives. So
You think
um
so?
I do I do think so.
Think some buttons are gonna go in instead of all the haptic stuff?
I mean, within reason, dude. I don't know if they'll change actual hard design between now and facelift, but you can you can upgrade a material. Like those lower door panels are
Right.
pretty plastic,
They
right?
are. They are.
Uh, and that's a weak point on the car. And, maybe could you get rid of like the touch screens for everything? Probably, I don't know. Maybe not on the dash. Or sorry, not on the dash, on the steering wheel. We're already seeing didn't it have rollers, whereas the earlier ones didn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I,
Right.
I think the best look of the car, in my opinion, is the rear three quarter. Like that shot that you can see the sun hitting like the bulges, the rear,
Yeah.
and then the look. I think that just looks so cool.
I was watching a design analysis and somebody the other thing people pointed out, which is great detail, which is that, again, 4 centimeters on each side, those flares are very, very substantial. So that
Hmm.
angle you're talking about is kind of like hitting it right, like um, it's thick and in a wonderful way. But
Right.
the thing that they did too, which they deserve credit for, is where like if you look at the Mercedes, it's thick in the front, but in the back they didn't
Went
want to do
flat.
a separate
Right.
door
Right.
stamping. And in BMW on the M4 or M3, I guess it would be, they did the flare on the fender, but they didn't do a new door stamping. So it kind of doesn't really line up with the flare very well at the rear. It's kind of
Hmm.
inelegant where the Audi is just cohesive. They spent the extra money and it shows.
It does. It does. It absolutely right. I think the question is going to be is how many parts or what percentage of parts this car will share with the A5. Well, I call it the 4, but I can't call it the 5 because it is actually an RS4. And I honestly wish that they would have called this the RS4, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
If it ever comes to the US, that's an easy fix, right? A 5 to a 4. But I think, the you're right, which is they took the extra time, they took, the extra effort, the money to make this car different, right?
Yeah.
And us as enthusiasts, we should celebrate that, right? Nothing's perfect, right? But we as enthusiasts should be like, wow, a company that has given us all these boring cars for all this while, uh, for no reason I've wanted to, there was no reason for me to go to an Audi dealership because there was no car that interested me. If this car were the dealership, I'd be like, wow, I want to go check it out. And that's how a brand engages enthusiasts, right? Um, like you and I were talking the other day, right? How many years has it been since we got our RS6s that unless you want to get a service on the car, you just there's no reason for you to go to the dealership, right? There is no R8, there's no Halo car that excites you to get you in. I'm not going in to check out a an e-tron or an electric Audi, you know what I mean?
I'll throw us a curveball at you. You're talking about the A4, and I thought of a really great way that Audi could never afford to do to make to make lemonade out of lemons on the whole A4 thing. And
Mm,
that's to, I was looking at, I generated these kind of quasi AI, quasi photoshopped renderings of the car before it
mm-hmm,
came out, right?
mm-hmm,
They're
mm-hmm,
Nagara blue, they've got the rotors, they're on the site. People called me out for it, and they were right. The proportions were a little bit RS3, meaning a little more
mm,
compact, a little
mm,
taller, whereas the
mm.
A5 has gotten quite like C5,
Right.
C6, A6 like, right? And so it looks a little bit like if Audi had the equivalent to a BMW 1 Series,
Mm,
right? If they did a small longitudinal car, which
mm,
might make the RS3 redundant, but if they did a like what was the B5A4, right? Which is
mm.
a small longitudinal, that would be
That was be chef's kiss.
yes.
And I'm hoping with the new CTO and the new leadership. But there's actually a really interesting a really interesting video I saw on YouTube yesterday. It says excited for Dr. Crazy to come back to Audi. I don't know if you've seen it. It talked about one of the core reasons Audi is kind of lost their pizzazz, if you will. They say, there's been there's been more changes. There's been no more CTOs. Each CTO has been there for a year and a half, and finally you have somebody who's come in and who has actually built a wide body, S2, right?
Right.
Is known as Dr. Crazy. He's come from Lamborghini. He's through and through a car enthusiast. So, there is hope, right? There's hope that a small little car comes along that Audi, resurrects that oomph back in the brand,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. You know
Yeah.
you know more about that than I do. So yeah.
I
What are
think
your
the video
thoughts?
you caught might have been B Sport, which
Yes.
is this guy who I don't know him, haven't talked to him. Maybe I'll see if I can get him on the podcast sometime. He's like former Audi development engineer.
Ah,
So
okay.
like I do this part of the site. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I do this part of the site where I kind of curate YouTube
Mm,
videos, like stuff I see that's cool, podcasts, whatever.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
whenever B Sport does anything Audi oriented, I tend to cover it because he's super knowledgeable and knows like internal workings and can speak definitely from a position of authority. So yeah, he was one who I think he went back from the history to like Michael Dick, who was he was head of development back in I don't know 2012 or so,
Right, 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 right.
and kind of came forward and went to like Durheimer and whomever and so on and so forth till we get to today. And you're right, they never really stay very long. And I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Gregory, the Frenchman who just left,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Boquo, I don't know. Hadn't met him, so I've never had to say his name in person. I just read it. He was there for barely a year.
Right.
So I'm curious what that. I take it more as an intentional shift back towards engineering of like hard engineering. He was more of a software guy. I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
So let's talk about something, right? So
Yeah.
I think the piece that a lot of folks are curious, right? Says so somebody reached out to me as soon as the car came out and they're like, "Are you getting one?" I'm like, "Getting what?" "The new RS5." And I'm like, I was in meetings. I'm like, "RS5? Why would I get an RS5?" They're like, "They're coming out in the Avant." I'm like, "Seriously?" So here I am in my split screen, like while I'm on a call, like I'm Googling and blah blah blah. And people had started posting on Reddit, "No, it's not coming. No, it's not coming." And our dear friend Autotography said, well, he asked people that when he was there at the release, and they said, "Nope, it's not coming to the U.S." All right, fair enough. He is a known source, or one of the known authorities, and has done But again, I question that, right?
Hmm.
And then Doug Demuro, in passing, I don't know if you've seen that video,
I have.
uh, and he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's coming," and then he just moved on, and I was like,
Right.
Interesting." So I don't know if it's what the thing is, but I think there is a business case for it to come. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll dig in. I'll tell you
Yeah.
everything I know. Well, most everything I know. First of all, we're all talking to sources who are kind of either speaking off the record
Hmm.
or in a position like, for instance, you look at auditography, you got to think about the context in which he asked, right?
Hmm.
So I don't think he said, and I haven't asked him directly who he was speaking to, but that's key because if you look at like you look, he's probably at a well, he got early access to the car for photography, right? Like so those guys all had that like teaser where they had the
Hmm.
pulled the blanket up and teased a little spot of it and whatever. And so he was there for that. And the question is who he was interacting with while he was there. So it could
Hmm.
be a designer. It could be and I saw you just put a new video out on it. I didn't have a chance to watch it before this recording. I probably should have because he might say who he spoke to.
Right.
In that could be a PR person, could be a marketing person, a product planner, even a product planner in Germany though. Is by the way, he is on LinkedIn. I saw him. I don't know him. I just followed him in the last. You asked the last time we spoke who the product manager was for RS5. He's on LinkedIn and active.
Mm.
Because I saw it like I don't know if LinkedIn was listening to us, but it popped up in my feed like literally the evening after we spoke.
Mm.
But anyway, let me just give you an example. Like product manager for RS5 in Europe may or may not. Like one would think he would know everything,
Right.
but he's not going to be in. My guess is he would not be in. It's possible that he was, but my guess is he's not going to be in the conversation between Audi of America and its handlers in Germany to project what vehicles are coming here, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And so, if it's a PR person, same thing. A German PR person might have heard something somewhere, but like thought they had an answer, gave him an answer. That doesn't make it so. Just as my sources telling me don't make it so either, right?
Mm. Hmm.
It's really just putting your things together of like trying to qualify the sources you're hearing from. DeMuro has a lot of contacts. So it could be that like somebody said something to DeMuro that like, that could be true.
Hmm.
It could also be that they said, um, that they said they said it and had heard it somewhere. Like you just don't know. So that said, I've heard from both dealer contacts. This is a while back now. This isn't recently since the car's been seen. But I've heard from dealer contacts and some other contacts who would be aware of planning, like
Hmm.
forecasting what's going to be in this market. Talking to them, it seemed like the plan was sedan only.
Mm.
Now, that doesn't mean it could change or couldn't change rather, right? It just means like that was the plan. And the tell here for me is A4 all road.
Hmm.
For us to get any Avant in the United States, we need volume
Mm.
or it's prohibitively expensive. That's not to say it's impossibly expensive, but it's prohibitively expensive. So, for instance, like RS6 Avant, I put at like 90 to 99% certainty that it's coming to the United States.
Hmm.
And A6 All Road we've seen it testing, right?
Mm.
We know it exists. We know we will likely get it.
Mm.
And America likes the belief in Audi of America is that America likes all roads more than they like Avants, right?
Mm.
RS people accepted. If you look at the B8 era, where early B8 we had an A4 Avant in the pre-facelift, and then
Hmm.
B8.5 we get the all road,
Right.
and pretty much from there on, anything that's not an RS car is an all road. So the fact that we haven't seen the all road B10 testing at
Hmm.
all, and the car's been out going on 2 years now.
Hmm.
makes me think that there is no plan for a B10 all-road.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, that doesn't bode well for RS5 Avant, nor does the fact that we have seen test mules of an RS Q5. So figure same drivetrain in the Q5. Now that the Macan internal combustion is off the market, Porsche doesn't really have any reason to lobby for that car to not exist. So we'll finally get an RSQ5. But so is the question, if you're a product planner at Audi, right? You, Nish, does it make sense to do an A5 sedan, an
Right.
RSQ5, and an RS5 Avant?
So I'm going to answer that question two different ways, right?
Yeah,
One is the passion side, right? So as a product manager, strategically thinking, what's going to infuse some excitement back into the brand? A
yeah,
brand kind of is kind of lost its way, right? Is you bring a car and take into account, when the RS6 came, when you and I bought our RS6s early on, people were like, oh, that's going to be such a niche car. Oh, that's going to do nothing. They're going to sell a few hundred and then Audi's going to lose a lot of money. Well, lo and behold, those cars, they were flying off the shelf. And now you have the most amazing RS6s in every different color. And it's done so well for Audi, where Audi actually made some part, leftover part cars, and those also sold, right?
right,
So, strategically, you know, as a strategic leader for my company, I'm thinking of what differentiates my company from the others, the BMWs, you know, Mercedes, and how do I provide a halo car? And I think this car, even though it's the mid-size car, is going to be able to change and influence the talk track of Audi. Okay, so that's the passion side, right? Now, if you look from an operations point of view, I think the deck is stacked against this car.
right.
The reality, right? Is Audi of America, have they budgeted for the car? I don't know.
At this point, I'm going to guess no.
No. Right.
But I'm going to try to avoid saying, as we said earlier, because you and I had a conversation earlier, and I hate when people keep saying,
Right, right.
like we said.
Yeah.
But going back to that, the if that was the original plan to do the sedan, and now what we're seeing in the press is not only an overwhelming home run on design, but everybody is saying, why wouldn't you do the Avant? It would be stupid to not do the Avant. If you could do just one, do the Avant, right?
Right.
If you look at, I was commenting on Audi of America's post. They threw up a few photos of, or Audi USA on Instagram, right? They threw up a few photos of the sedan, and everybody it was a pylon of like Avant, Avant, Avant. So could they pivot? Yes. Would they need Germany's support to make that pivot? Yes. But if Germany wants to send a signal, and you mentioned Ruben Moore earlier taking over as
Right.
development chief, Formula One, which is closely tied to these cars, right? Six-cylinder
Right.
hybrid. Like there's a direct correlation that one can make from a marketing perspective. That would be a way to do. I mean, now would be the time. The timing is good for that. And
Exactly.
going to what you were saying earlier, not to get on a soapbox and not give you a moment to respond, but the other thing I would say is, I think you're spot on with if you're a product manager, if you just go with numbers and logic, right? Q5 is where the volume's going to be. So RSQ5 is going to be the top seller volume wise. Sedans sell better than Avants in general. So that makes sense. Why not just go to with the two volume models? The problem is RS cars aren't they it's not a conventional volume question,
Buyer.
right?
Right.
RS cars are
Exactly.
an image leader. They represent the brand, and fast
Right.
wagons represent Audi probably more than any other brand in the market. Maybe Volvo at one time, but that ship passed years or sailed years ago.
Right.
So the other side of this is BMW has an M4, M3 sedan in the United States, right? Mercedes-Benz has an AMG in that class as a sedan. Nobody has an Avant. So you take that Avant space And trust me, if BMW put an M3 Touring in this
Yeah,
market, do you know how many Audi owners, like legit
absolutely.
ambassador, dyed in the wool Audi owners would probably jump ship for that car?
Oh, absolutely,
Right,
including myself, right? But
right.
look at the market opportunity, right? So, because in my line of work, I have to think not just what the next 30 days, but what's the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months the strategy is going to be, right?
Yeah,
And that's my job because everyday operations, I have to provide governance and oversight, but I leave it to my team and I'm looking future. So if the way I put my that thinking hat is look at the market opportunity in front of Audi, right? You're testing the waters of a sedan and an Avant and the across every platform, right? Social media, conversations. The Avant has reinvigorated the conversation about Audi again. It's made Audi relevant, right?
I would argue
Num-
it's a brick in the wall. Formula One, Roof and More. There are a number of
right.
they're hitting a lot of
Right.
right
So
keys.
yeah. So that's one.
Right,
Number two is strategically with the leadership that's coming, right? That's coming in. Here's your opportunity to to be able to um, be able to show a step change, right?
right,
The third is bring a model that's going to completely destroy the norm about your brand. You know, when I talk to my Audi friends, they're like, "Oh, the A5 is so boring. Oh, it's plastic peaches, blah blah blah." Do something that's really going to change, right? It's going to
right.
change the perception. And oh, by the way, maybe that requires a change in leadership in Audi of America, right? Maybe, yeah. So maybe it's something you
Ha-
know and I know.
We'll see something we both know as of
Yes,
today.
as of today.
Yeah,
Should we do some breaking news?
we could.
All right, let's do it. You first. Well,
Daniel's out.
Daniel's out, right? Daniel's going to China,
Yeah,
right? So here's your opportunity, right? Out of America, right? It says, hey, new leadership, new blood, new CTO. Let's bring it in, right? Let's do a
right,
pivot change. And as a strategy, then you build on that strategy, right? You bring the excitement back. You're like, hey, RS6 owners, RS5 owners, you've got the Avants, you've got. So let's make sure then strategically, then all your trickle down economics, right? Which is then people come in and buy A's and Q's and other RS products, but it brings that the excitement back. And that's what I think. And that's why I struggle in my mind as to why they, at least the speculation is they're not coming. Heart of hearts, I think the RS5's coming.
So I will say this. I did ask the day it launched, I sent a note over to US Public Relations
Hmm.
just to see if they would the way I posed the question was based on the assumption that it would be sedan only.
Right.
And I said, "Can you confirm to me for this was for like they'd sent out, as we know, some photos leaked, right? So
Right. Hmm.
people had embargo materials, there was a press release, there were photos, I had them as well."
Right.
And so I asked them just, without hitting too many questions, because I know we're very early, could you confirm to me that it's sedan only?
Hmm.
Or and what I this is the kind of, I won't attribute this to a person um because I didn't ask him whether I could attribute it to him, but it's a fairly canned response, but it's telling. The U.S. launch will vary from what's detailed in the global release.
Hmm.
Since we are still some time away from introducing the car here, meaning North America or the United States specifically, we cannot comment on the specifics of the U.S. market's offering just yet, i.e.,
Right.
body style, performance specs, etc.
Right.
U.S. specific information will be shared closer to the arrival of the car to our market. So I would think, if this is me being very wishful, I would think that if the sedan were locked in and that was the question, because I asked the question the way I asked it. If I ask, is the Avant coming? They're not going to give me an answer. If
Mm,
I ask, is it sedan only? And that's, basically confirmed at this time, there'd
mm-hmm,
be no reason not to say yeah, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, Again, that's conjecture and I'm making assumptions, and I just want to qualify that.
Right.
But in my experience, there's not much to protect there if the decision is final, which makes me think the decision is not final,
It is not.
right?
Oh, by the way, just FYI, Daniel's going to China, but Vito Palladino is coming in. So, you know,
Canada,
from Canada, right?
right?
And we know Canada's got some other cool cars that US has not gotten.
Well, okay, so let's before we jump ahead, I
Yeah,
don't think we spelled it out in here, and so there may be
sure,
some
sure.
people along for the ride who are
Okay.
like, "Who?
Sure,
What?
sure, sure.
What's going on?" So news is breaking right now.
Okay.
Not sure where you heard on to give up, but Daniel Weisland, who is the CEO of Audi of America, is leaving. I don't know if it's effective immediately or
I
effective.
think effective April 1st is
Okay,
when.
effective April 1st. Probably not a surprise. Audi of America has been in a sales slide for a while. And so making a change there probably is helpful, and especially
Right.
when you see this sort of shift in staff in Europe with the naming of Ruben Moore. And it's been what, about a year and a half since Massimo Frisella joined, and Gernot Dolner, and so you have this changing of teams and priorities. And so this is could be by extension that, or it could just be
Right.
getting out the person who was at the helm while sales slid. But regardless, Daniel is going um, to
China.
China for a
Hmm.
sales position, and is my understanding as well. And that Vito Palladino, who is from Audi Canada, will be coming down. Notably, last was a nitpick of mine. Last week was the Canadian International Auto Show in Toronto,
Hmm.
and auto shows have kind of been on the wane. Audi of America doesn't participate in any
Hmm.
U.S. auto shows. That Audi does via its dealers, but Audi of America doesn't manage the presence, nor does Audi AG. And so Audi as a brand doesn't have any really official presence at a U.S. auto show, whereas Audi Canada did, right? Audi
Hmm.
Canada had Audi House, which is a tradition for them, and the Toronto Auto Show, while not the biggest one in the world, is still it's probably as relevant as New York or Detroit or LA at this point. So um, that choosing to like step back from auto shows in that capacity to that level was probably a decision that Daniel had some say in. I don't want to blame it all on him, but he's the leader when that happens. And Canada took a different position, and we see other markets like out in Middle East, um, where it's worth calling them out because they do a great job down there of doing some really cool things and
Right.
focused on trying to maintain the car being more of something more than an appliance and something more than
Right.
just a
Hmm.
commodity in people's lives. And so I don't know Vito Palladino. I haven't really looked into him yet. I know who he was, who he is, but I see that as a good thing for this market.
Oh,
Your thoughts?
absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Listen, you know, again, like you said, it Audi's always been an enthusiast brand. Listen, that's why we all love Audi, right? Quattro, the S1, E2, the RS4, the RS2, all the cool cars, right? That Audi made. We've always wanted these Avants, and now here's your opportunity with change, and with this step change, right?
Right.
I honestly think, just like Porsche, right? Porsche's also has a new CEO from McLaren. There's a new design head. Things are moving. Things are being shuffled. Completely understand, right? I honestly think Audi needed the same, and I'm glad to see that this is happening. Daniel's a good guy, but at the end of the day, to your point, Audi had become just an alternative to another appliance on four wheels, right? Besides the
Yeah,
RS6. So,
memorable product but even in that niche, that may bode well for the RS5 Avant. But where I'm going with that is, all cabriolets are gone, TT is gone, R8 is gone, all of the lifestyle cars, with the
right.
exception of the RS6, RS7, RSQ8, maybe, um, are kind of gone from the lineup
Right.
in the United States. RS3 is still here. Sorry, I forget about RS3. So like Audi doesn't have a lot of cards to play, at least until Concept C arrives. There, on again, off again rumors about a potential R8 on Temerario, but at the end of the day, none of that is here, and all of it's years out. Whereas
Exactly.
RS5 is much closer.
Is right
So
here. Exactly. So why not, take
yeah,
a shot, what's it, spending a few $1 million if it's not budgeted to say, you know what, see, what's been the response to this car. There's an overwhelming response, people like you and I are talking about this car. If you had, last week, did we have anything to talk about Audi? Not really. Yeah, this,
F1.
yeah, F1, the
Yeah.
R26. um that way, we need to talk about the Audi house in Miami, for $10,000. That's quite the experience. But yeah.
You want to dig into that quickly?
Yeah, yeah,
I did a
yeah.
column on that, and I think I hit it. I know I hit it right because somebody at Out of America reached out and thanked me. $10,000 is something that like it's a lot of money for any, well,
For
most of
peasants
us.
like us, yeah.
It's a lot of money for me. But like I'm not the guy. I remember being at Quail. It's like over $1,000 for a ticket at Quail, and I
Right.
balk at that. And like it's still obnoxious for a day. There's a 3-day thing, I guess. But I guess where I'm going is like I walk at Quail, I walk past a guy who's like had his wife and like 3 kids there. Kids were rolling around, didn't care about the cars. And you knew he spent $1,000 on everybody walking in, right?
Right.
Um, or at least I assume he did. So I'm going to the Canadian GP this year. I'm taking my kids. We're going to sit in the stands and get just me, much less four of us, into the Audi uh, for Turn One Club at Miami Grand Prix, which is what
Right.
we're talking about, is about $10,000. And so that seems obnoxious, and to most of us probably for whom that it's a lot of money. It is obnoxious, but the reality is, I did a little research on this. The going rate for a hospitality pass of that sort at the Miami Grand Prix, that's actually on the affordable end of
Yep.
equivalent
Hmm.
hospitalities at Miami. So
Right.
you can still go to Miami and spend a couple $100 for a grandstand seat, get into the race, walk around, have a good time, and you're fine.
Right.
Um, it's not. I think we all kind of have the context of like the Sebring Turn One Club, which was a fraction of that. It
Right.
wasn't inexpensive, but it was a fraction of that. And we expect the F1 event to be similar. And the reality is the Miami Grand Prix and Miami are not Sebring, Florida. Right? They're
Yeah, no,
just
no.
different,
Listen.
different
Yeah,
products.
yeah. I'll give you a personal example on that, right? So I did the Miami Grand Prix about 3 years ago, right? And we had normal tickets, but then just through friends, we were able to experience the hospitalities, right? So we went for Saturday and Sunday, so practice, qualifying, and then the actual race, right? And a friend of ours, he's highly connected, so he's like, "Oh, let's just forget your seats, right? We're gonna check out all the hospitalities." So we went from sitting for about half an hour on the regular seats to all the way through the hospitalities, all the way to the paddock club, right?
Hmm.
And so we experience, and I can tell you is that it's a completely different world, different
Right.
experience to, the kind of people to, US people are spending $25,000 a day on paddock club. And then we got to
Right.
experience the actual walking in the paddock and, meeting the drivers to, hey, you're just seeing a fast car pass you by,
Right.
like, and then all you're seeing is the race on the screen, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather be at home rather than there in the rush and
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that crowd gets motivated by the celebrity sightings and the
yeah, yeah,
rubbing
yeah,
elbows. I have no doubt the Audi drivers, at the very least, will be in that. Well, they have not told me that, but I assume
yeah.
that tends to be how it works. I guess Nish, I'm kind of like maybe I'm a little like I'm probably a little cynical in this. I get where there's a market. I stand in. I remember last time I was in Amelia. I'm watching the cars roll out at the end of the day. The Amelia Island Concours, right?
Hmm.
That Haggerty puts on, and at the end of the day, around 4 p.m. The cars start rolling out. I'm sure you were there because you had your car on display. And it's a great time because you see these cars, you hear them, you smell them, you watch
Right.
them roll out. It's really, really cool. And as I'm standing there, kind of waiting for, I was fanning around the Michel Mouton S1 that was parked
Hmm.
there by the lake, and waiting for them to fire that one up. And while I was doing that, I'm watching all these G5s fly out, right?
Hmm.
And if you're those folks on the G5s buying a $10,000 Paddock Club
Nothing.
ticket,
Nothing at all. So,
right?
you mentioned, right, us participating in Amelia. So my wife Tara and I, we were chatting, and just for the record, right, she's the one with the car problem, right? She keeps on buying a new
Nobody
car.
buys that, Nish. You can keep saying it, but nobody buys it.
uh, uh, it's a true story, right? So the first year we participated with Amelia with our RS4 build, right?
Yeah.
Wagon, the only Audi there, and I guess the judges recognized kind of the how cool that car was, and we won, to our surprise, Cars and Coffee best of show, and we're like, what? Okay, great, right? And then slowly but surely, Tara's taste in cars has become more unique, and so we've had the opportunity to participate in the concours, to display cars in the concours, and we'll be doing the same thing this year, right? Um, but then as you experience these, and what you call is the who's who club, right? It's a completely different experience, George, right?
Yeah.
Completely different, right? This year, we're going there Thursday. There's an event on Thursday, invite only. Then there's Works, right? So that we're displaying the car, our 3RS at Works. Then there's a Friday party, and then there's an invite only party because you know certain people now that you've displayed the car. Um, Saturday, the car's in the concourse. So, you're invited to these different events. And then Saturday night, there's another Haggerty party. And Sunday, cars and coffee. And to your point about the G5, these worlds very rarely mingle, right?
Yeah.
There's the people who are,
Well, they do. I think that's one of they do, but it's what I love about a good Cars and Coffee. Not all Cars and Coffees, because I don't care about kids
right,
going
right, right,
sideways in Z cars or Mustangs. Honestly, get them out of here, right? But like but a good Cars and Coffee that's the nerds, where like
right.
you're as likely to see like an imported Spanish market 16 valve Mark III GTI or an F40, which these are both real examples I get from like
Right.
Katie's down in Great Falls, Virginia. And that's the great leveler, right? Especially Katie's is great because they don't even block off parking for like the big dogs. It's when you show up, you get the spot,
Exactly.
right? And that is this kind of great leveler that like what the elitism going on at Katie's is knowledge and nerdiness and appreciation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not how big your checkbook is, and I think that's one of the things that like I love Monterey. I love the Amelia. What these events do for this community is fantastic. But that is kind of a nauseating for me at times.
It
Like when I
is.
start to
It
bump up
is.
against the people who I don't care what your income is. If you're rolling in like a multi-million dollar car, awesome, right?
Good
It's the
for you.
people who like don't really, it's the people who are flying out on the G5s not to watch the cars drive out. There's a guy watching, I'm sure somewhere, I didn't talk to him, but I'm sure there are men or women who are going to be going out on their G5 too, but they're hanging out to watch the cars run because
Oh,
they're nerds
absolutely.
and they care. And those people, it's more the people who are, they say they're into cars or like dealers. I have a dealer friend who was talking to me about all these like cars I see shop pop up. The Porsche world has plenty of them, right? The
Right.
Sonderwunsch cars that like somebody got a slot for Sonderwunsch and paid to sample and whatever, and they built this car, and now here we are, 12 months to 24 months out, and the car's got 0 miles on it, and they're selling it. It's not because they cared about the car. It's because they're the
It's a
whale, which
status
is the
symbol.
term I've heard, right? Like that just wants to be the big dog in the dealership and get the
Oh,
the
absolutely.
cool play thing.
Right.
And it's like, man, I want that Sonderwunsch paint to sample car to go to somebody who is a nerd who like is like totally, yeah,
Dude,
exactly,
come on.
exactly like you with your GT3 RS. And that's where like if those people are at at the Turn One Club, then great. It's the people flying out early on the G5s who like I just don't want to hang out with, and that's kind of like that's kind of that's kind of Miami. I'm stereotyping
It is
now, but that's
Miami.
why
It
I'm
is.
going to the
It is.
Canadian GP and not to Miami.
Right. No, no, no. I agree. Right. So let's take the so I know we were going off topic, but let's
Right.
so here's another opportunity for Audi, right, with the RS5. Take the Sunderwunsch example, right? And we were asked recently about, hey, how was your Sunderwunsch experience? And we said, you dream it, they will build it within reason. But it's about not just to your point about people just building cars for the sake of building. Like I'm part of again, we don't belong there, but we're part of a group chat on WhatsApp that's PTS Sunderwunsch, heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And somehow somebody added us peasants, but that's besides the point. But everybody, you have to show your build sheet in order to get in.
Doug DeMuro hates you guys. Did you see his? Did you see his?
I actually texted Doug and I
Did you?
sent him a picture of the mileage on my car. Just for the record, even though we have a one of one Nogaro Blue GT3
Yeah.
RS Sonderwunsch, it's crossed 5,200 miles.
Do you wonder if I'm going to sidetrack you again because it's what I'm doing. It's right. It's Donald Trump's weave. Oh, wow. Going to another thing because I have ADD. Um, that episode. The other thing. This is also going unsaid. Now I'm going to say it. Doug DeMuro and his podcast did something recently where they were like kind of like hot taking
Right.
on Sonderwunsch and
Sure.
people who get off on specs
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
how he finds them super irritating because
Right.
XYZ. I suspect like look, Doug has earned all his money and he's bought some really cool cars. I think
Definitely.
I have a friend like him who just like buys whatever comes available to him, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love how casual my buddy is at doing it. He just kind of takes what's at the dealer and he buys amazing cars, but he's like he doesn't really have the time nor the inclination nor care about really spending all that time
Right.
filling out a spec. But some people do. And for the people who like are hyper either the whales or the people who are hyper anal about the car will never see any use. I agree with you 100%. But yeah, I'm curious if with Doug, if it wasn't more of a they're doing a podcast every day, and I feel like it kind of becomes a little morning zoo like where they have to
Right.
have
A
a hot
topic.
take or some sort of
Right.
issue
Right.
every
Right.
day.
Yeah. So my point of view on that, because I did reach out to Doug and I forget the other guy. I actually know him through the Audi community, and I
Oh,
said,
Nick.
Nick, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey Nick, just FYI, right? There are some people who have PTS cars, Sunderwinch cars, who actually, yeah, we do nerd out on the paint colors, and which I will be doing at works, walking around the corral
Right.
and enjoying the cars. Uh, but we do enjoy our cars and we drive our cars. And yes, I totally understand people who see this as just parking cash and thinking, it's going to, it's going to elevate their relationship with Porsche in terms of being seen as a whale, or see it as an appreciating asset, right? Just putting money and getting 10% return, which
Yeah.
unfortunately has had its I would say um, it's really impacted the overall Porsche community in general. But I think what's Nick was like, hey Nish, we were not talking about you, right? I said, oh, listen, that's totally cool, right? I know the general public of PTS, and it's a shame, we were talking about that yellow 2RS, right, for $934,000 and with low miles. People are doing that. I honestly think Audi
I have a
has an.
theory. I
Uh,
have a theory on that car.
sure, sure.
So for the people listening in, there's a car at Ferrari Fort Lauderdale, I
That's
believe.
fine. Hmm.
That is a 991.2 2018-ish
Hmm.
911 GT2 RS. I just featured it on Tailored Driver earlier this week. BMW Phoenix Yellow.
Yellow.
So like I think that's an E46 era color.
It's a E46 or E36 Phoenix Yellow. Must be,
I
yeah.
don't think it's
Yeah, yeah,
E36. I think I saw it on like Z3Ms. Doesn't really
yeah,
matter.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
But it's a BMW color. it does get painted on Porsche, but it's rare. And but Porsche makes it available. And then the person did like Miami blue, which is kind of like a Riviera blue, like on the green side, a really bold blue side of the spectrum, on the wheels, on the underside of the review mirrors, on the little washer bezels right by the headlight,
Right.
on leather on the vents, and seat belts. And my theory is like I don't want to. This might have been somebody's dream car, so I don't want to be mean to it. It's definitely polarizing.
No, I don't think so.
I have a theory on the car.
All right, what's your theory?
My theory on the car is that somebody, either a whale who, two whales sitting around with monocles and smoking cigars, or a dealer salesperson who was either trying to win or lose a bet, made this car that could be the most ridiculous spec, but like within reason. It's not like pink with, you know what I mean? They
There's
wanted to
enough of
make a
those
ridiculous
actually.
spec and to
Right.
see if that would actually help the car because it's above market for a GT2 RS as far as what they've got it listed at. But then again, it's at a Ferrari dealer in Florida. But like I have a theory that it was done ironically and that it wasn't done like either as a bet or like a goof. Like I
Yeah. So there's also a third theory I have. So having spent some time now with gone through the process and then spoken to a lot of people, fellow collectors or folks, there is a subset of Sonderwunsch customers who want the highest build sheet just for bragging rights.
So they're running up so it's a whale's whale, like the whale of whales. The
Yeah.
Moby Dick,
Yeah.
ironically, since
So,
we're talking Porsche.
yeah. So I'll give you an example, right? So, for the record, I haven't shared our build sheet with anybody. So, it's none of anybody's business how much we spent on our car. It's hard-earned money, and
Right.
nobody needs to know
All
what
right.
we did. But that being said, because there's always comparisons, right, on this chat, and it's a little nauseating sometimes. But somebody said, "Oh yeah, they built a 3RS with and wanted to build the most expensive interior, so decided that every surface would be the graphite blue leather. Okay, but um, it's a blue car. I think it's not South Sea, but it's some dark blue, a darkish blue,
Yeah.
and graphite blue interior. The graphite blue interiors almost like $100,000 every surface, right?
Hmm.
Blue, right? And it's a darker blue, that's fine. Um, but why? Just because you want to, just because you want the most expensive, you know. And then you do decals from Sonderwunsch, and those aren't cheap.
Yeah.
Uh, I I wanted to put the decals on top of my PPF, so to make my car unique. But that's what I've noticed. There's a lot of people ask you, "Oh, how much was your build sheet?" I'll give you an example. We were at Cars on Fifth in Naples 2 weekends ago, and I have this actually on video. We were walking around, and they give the best of show prizes, and there's a best of show prize given to this Miami Blue GT3 992.1 GT3, and all the the cladding is all painted in a GT3 in gentian blue. And as a fellow Porsche owner, all of us are like, "Hey man, congratulations, congratulations!" And a friend of mine said, "Hey, Nish is also a fellow Sonderwunsch, car owner." And the first thing that guy says is, "Oh yeah, this is Sonderwunsch. Check my build sheet." And he had displayed his build sheet in the back with all the pricing. And the second thing that came out was like, "Oh yeah, I spent over $143,000 in Sonderwunsch."
It almost seems like I don't know if you're as old as I am, Nish, but like I'm sure this is probably a universal thing. Video games first popped when I was in like middle school.
Uh,
Pac-Man at the Pete's
uh-huh.
place, right? And like everybody wanted to roll up that high score. And like I feel like for some people, the whales in the paint to sample and tailored car world are the ones who it's just rolling up the high score. It's just a flex to show.
It is a flex. No, it is absolutely a flex, right? So, coming back to the RS5, I think here's another opportunity for Audi to take a page out of Sonderwunsch and say, what can we do with Audi exclusive?
Well, what would be cool when you first started talking about this? They with the 20 the sorry the RS tribute that you have, 25 came. They went to dealers, but I think there was thought of trying to put them in the hands of people who genuinely wanted them. I know with like Tino, our friend who bought the one from Audi Wilmington, there was
Right.
a whole delivery plan around him. He'd written letters prior to the car coming out, and so it was a bit of a PR win for them. And I do wonder if that wouldn't be like one way to make it happen might be to like even if you don't put it out on like a one of those platforms where you can like put up a business plan. I'm blanking on the name, and like people can give you money, or invest. You know what I mean?
GoFundMe.
Yeah, nah, not GoFundMe, but there's another one that was like a business incubator one. I'm trying to remember the
Uh,
name of it. Might have been
oh
GoFundMe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It's not GoFundMe. It's the other one that the business incubator that there's a watch company that did it and now they're very successful.
Right.
Right, right, right. Uh-huh.
And so like I do wonder if they didn't put like utilize a platform like that to like take orders for like initial hand raisers and maybe give a early warning to
Mm-hmm.
RS6 owners, right? People who've
Right.
bought RS6s in this first generation that can't the C8 RS6, which is the only gen we've ever gotten the Avant, to let us dial in. And what would be cool would be if you, I mean, again, because you could do a stage level of investment, you could do a prepackaged. I'm just spitballing. I'm not saying anything with any knowledge of what Audi product planning goes through in this regard. But could you do like, all right, so I heard some theories that this car, because of where the competition is, will probably be around 85 to 90.
Right.
So not as expensive as Germany. So could you do like the buy-in would be at like 85, or the buy-in might be at like 100 and I don't know, pick a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
135, 150, but you get this, every option plus Audi exclusive plus Audi exclusive interior, or do multiple stages, right? I want to do an
Right.
Audi exclusive. I want to do Audi exclusive interior. I want to do something
Right.
that's special. So they could like allow pre-orders and allow people to have that flex, bragging rights, sharing, giving them. Man, I just did a feature on forums, if you know, you know, today of like the one I told you I was going to run, which was all the
Mm-hmm.
Nagaro cars that are on the market
Right.
right now.
Right. 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 Right.
And I did notice something different where like finally, I think it was Audi of it wasn't Greenville, it was the other dealership,
You
but
mean
they
the
have
RS6 performance?
the RS6 Performance.
They've done one with a beige interior, cognac.
Yeah, I don't know why I hate when people do cognac with Nagaro. Do you know which dealer that's at?
That's in Alabama,
It's at Audi Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah. Hmm.
So what's cool about the listing, that one of the salespeople posted it on Audi Club's classifieds page and on our Audi exclusive face like for sale group that exists on Facebook as well. So reach out to him if you're finding the car on either one of those platforms. Reach out to him. The salespeople who push that through are super helpful to those of us looking for weirdo cars like that. But then beyond that, I went to their website to see if they had better photography,
Hmm.
and they had like the internal Audi exclusive rendering of the car.
They
So
did. They did.
correct
Yeah.
color exterior, correct interior, correct
Yep.
wheels,
Yep.
which usually you'd never see on a dealer's site. So like that kind of some sort of special treatment where you can render the car and people get that stuff early. And I'd have to imagine you could probably figure out a process that could be like an economies of scale process for a certain higher level of take rate for
Right.
this launch year of RS5 Avant.
But just think about it, right? So, the original B5 RS4 that we all love and we never got, right? It's
Right,
kind of the unicorn, right? 2000, 2001, right?
right.
It is 25 years to the original B5 RS4. So just like us, Audi Avant nerds, that we got our hands on the Tribute and they made 25 of them. Come on, Audi of America. You can get 25. Like I would
Yeah,
I would put my hand up if you say, listen, put a deposit on a tribute to the B5 RS4. Hopefully it's a Nogaro blue. Yeah,
it would be cool if they did another round of tributes. 25 cars, but if they locked out Nagaro again, that might annoy a lot of people. But once I had a car, I loved that they locked it out because it made it very exclusive. But where I'm going with that is like doing the exact same formula
right,
on a like literally exact all the same stuff on
right.
an RS5. Silver optic wheels, silver
Come on,
badges,
come on.
again, all of it the same.
Listen, I've already, from aesthetically built a tribute that I posted the other day.
Yeah, I saw your photo.
There you go.
Black
There you go.
wheels though. But yeah,
No, I had silver wheels.
did you have silver wheels? I thought they were
I
black.
absolutely did. Come on now, I'll show it to
All
you.
right. We're getting a little nerdy on the spec thing, but where I'm going with that is like I bet they could sell the Tribute had such a following, whether that's of the people who actually bought the cars or whether that's the people who lusted after the cars. If they did 25, technically though, if we're talking anniversaries, I gotta put a flag on the play. The the RS4 Avant B5 came out in 2000, not 2001.
Okay. Okay.
And probably we won't have RS5 in market in 2026.
Uh,
Maybe, but I suspect it's 2027 arrival.
but look at this. Come on now. There you go. Can't you see? Look at that. That is pretty.
You
Look
put
at
your
that.
BBSs on it too. You got to put
Uh,
Avis on, dude.
no. I'm a BBS guy, so look at that.
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks awesome. Look at that. Look at the side profile. Come on now.
You just do what you did. I don't know why you're going back to the BBS. You should be throwing whatever the new
No, I like that.
the new at wheel at
Yeah,
Porsche with some
that's
center
nice.
locks on that thing.
No, yeah, the Porsche. Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Come on now. It looks cool. I like it.
I agree. I do. If they make an RS5 Avant, I may very well buy one.
There you go. There you go.
Because
Uh,
that takes us back to the other side of it. The car started to say this earlier. The car is not a track car just because of the weight. You're going to go through tires and brakes,
right, right.
like all the people who try and track Taycans and whatever. Um, I guess if you can afford it, who cares? It's fun. But for me, using the cars at daily, being able to like I don't have much of a commute, so you've got 50 kilometers instead of about 30 some miles
30 miles.
of all electric range. I have a buddy who has the new AMG E-Class hybrid here, like one of my local cars and coffee friends, and like he runs it electric most days,
Mm.
right? So I am there is part of me that like would love to have a cool hybrid because I have zero interest in like a Q5 hybrid or even
Yeah,
an A7 or an A8 hybrid. Just don't really do. How do they do that?
yeah.
How do they? That is something I'm genuinely curious about. Is how whomever was forecasting for the United States was like, we got budget for three hybrids. Q5 totally makes sense. Number one seller. Totally get that one. But then they go
Mm.
to like A7 and A8, and it's like, which are the two biggest sales turds in the lineup? And like, those are the two, right? So like, why they wouldn't do A5 Sportback or like,
I don't know.
or all
Yeah,
road maybe?
yeah. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in these product management discussions, right?
Yeah,
Now, talking about this, right? So here's another market opportunity that Audi of America or Audi has, right?
yeah.
It's being done at Porsche. It's being done at
Which is,
Lamborghini, which is bespoke cars. How you
yeah.
build a, Sonderwunsch. How do you build that experience, right? How do
Well,
you
there's,
build it? Hmm?
I don't know for sure, but I'm not speaking conjecture here, but I'm gonna guess there's more profit margin and a greater volume of cars annually
Yeah,
going in.
yeah, but the sticky factor here is now think of it this way, that trickle down economy, right?
Right.
You're able to build, the profit margins are definitely there, but it's about the long-term strategy of keeping people excited about your brand who then
Right.
buy lateral cars, right?
You
So here's your opportunity with all these new people to be able to say, you know what? we made Audi exclusive defunct in the Americas. We're coming back with all this energy, this vigor. We're bringing the RS5, and oh, by the way, nerds like George and Nish, Audi exclusive. We can go nuts on these cars. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then So I honestly think the timing is great. Is there a challenge ahead of us or ahead of Audi AG and Audi America? Absolutely. Can they make it happen? They ultimately can make it happen. You know what I mean?
I think they, yes, I'm curious where it goes. I think they prioritized, I have a theory that some companies or some people who don't get the passion for a product, so in this case, car enthusiasts, people who don't get it lean on numbers as the easy button, right?
Mm,
So volume. And so that's why like an RSQ5 or an RS5 sedan would make more sense than an RS5 Avant to those people because they look at the numbers and that's all they really quantify is running up the overall annual sales number without looking at the additional effect of enthusiast ambassadors driving motivated to drive an RS5 Avant and then selling people on other Audis, right?
yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
And so I think that's kind of the thing with Audi exclusive too, where if you just look at the numbers, probably it does it pay to have Audi exclusive sales staff or training or whatever for the associated profit margin if you're only adding the associated profits to the program in your valuation of the program, it probably isn't all that important. Just like if you're only looking at sales volume on RS5
Right.
Avant, it's not all that
Right.
important. You have to look further than the numbers. And Audi of America, sorry, Audi, I love you, but Audi of America the last couple years has been a numbers game, right? They are looking
Right.
at numbers. And unfortunately, the numbers aren't working for them, right? Like the profits are down, the sales numbers are down. So if it's just a matter of like focusing on the numbers, that clearly from the outside, I'm sure there's somebody more intimate with the situation than me, but from the outside, doesn't look like a winning combination. Whereas, like you look at years where they were focused on image and experience, like when they're doing motorsport experiences or driving experience or European delivery or supporting Audi Club financially or making
Right.
sure that's growing. Like when you build the customer experience so that it's enjoyable and engaging, you
Absolutely.
get ambassadors at a scale, right? Not just this
Yep.
this influencer or that celebrity who you gave a free car to and they give a crap for 5 minutes, but like people who live and die by the brand and people like that are going to help you move cars and you can't put them in a spreadsheet as easily as a volume number or a profit line item, a line item like Audi exclusive associated with a profit number.
Yeah, no, no, I completely agree, right? So I don't know if you saw the pricing for the UK. UK just came out, right, for the car. Um, so I know Europe, they're saying 128. I think their initial pricing. Um, they're saying the cost in Germany is going to be 106, right? The
Right.
UK is 107. Now again, tariff, no tariffs. I can't say what's going to happen on the tariff side, but I think I've also heard the same rumors that this car is going to be, if it ever comes to the U.S., is going to be about a 25 to $30,000 difference between, or maybe $20,000 difference between the S5. So you're talking about sitting at around 85 starting
Right.
to about 105, which I think is a great price point. Listen, when we got our RS6s, right? We already thought they were expensive, but I think if you bring smaller,
Actually,
uh,
I'm going to call you on the RS6 thing. When they announced pricing on that, it
it's
was like
120.
100. No, no. When RS6 launched into the United States, I think it started at 112,
You're right. You're right. 112.
which
Yeah.
was lower than RS7 or RSQ8. Like whomever did, and I think it was product planning,
Right.
whomever did the planning around that model was like, we're going to make this affordable. You're welcome, right? Like this is going to be the price leader in the RS6, RS7, RSQ8.
That's true. That's
mix.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, the tributes we never got to spec cars, right? I mean,
137, they all went, right?
yeah, they were all standard 137. So at that
Yeah, but
time,
they
I
had like
think,
Audi exclusive plus leather and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
special
the
paint
side
and
bolsters and all that stuff,
yeah.
all the fancy stuff. But they forgot PCCBs, so whatever.
Yeah.
That's
I'd
it.
rather have those than the Bang& and Olufsen stereo, but they all
Yeah,
had to be the
well,
same.
the stereo is nice, but I think listen, from a in the net, if you look at the package, the overall package, this car looks great, right?
Hmm.
Can it be tweaked? I've seen some pictures where the front, the next to the grill. If you take the license plate out, we live in Florida, it's a huge grill, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Copilot helped me take that out, and I was like, it looks kind of like, so I put my Instagram handle on the plate. I was like, all right, at least that breaks it up. Um, but but I think it has the right proportions. I think the light bar at the back on an Avant looks much better than the sedan, at least in my humble opinion. I've seen some spy shots of the cars being different colors. It has the right proportions. Honestly, now it's just up to Audi to say what they want, and with the new leadership, maybe that's what's going to happen. I'm hopeful. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to plug my petition here, which is
Yeah,
I
please do.
think at last count, it's got 1,700 signatures. I didn't even think there were 1,700 people. Again, to your point, all those 1,700 people going to buy an RS5? Don't know.
Right.
Uh, but someone was suggesting maybe when you sign the petition, you put down a non-refundable deposit. I don't think most people are going to do that, but hey, go to change.org and sign the RS5 petition. That way, at least Audi of America knows that people are interested. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess where I'm going with that is, do we think? I'll say this because you're an RS6 tribute buyer, and I'm a lowly RS6 tribute used car buyer. Uh, would people pay a non-refundable deposit, like a significant one, 10
20
grand,
grand, 10
10
grand.
grand, 20 grand, with contract to pay the whole thing? Because look, there's part of this is like trading your car and whatever. It's a little more complex than just throwing, a couple grand behind somebody's
Right,
startup
right.
watch company.
I would
However,
say there is a subset of people out there.
right.
I know of people who are paying refundable $5,000 deposits to dealerships who have started lists for these cars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if they did a Kickstarter where you had like two different buy-ins, one at
Hmm.
90 for a base car, and then figure out the options once we get closer to US equipment list, equipment
Right.
details,
Right.
and another one at like 130 for a loaded Audi exclusive, and that comes with whatever the canned Audi exclusive experience is for this car, right?
Right.
And you have so many slots of that. And if they were able to like lock in the first year of production with all pre-orders, so the only
Right.
people getting them are the people who hand raise,
Yep.
that would
It's
be
like
pretty
the
awesome.
it's like the Tesla, right?
Right.
That was $500 or $1,000, or that recent startup that took what, $500 from people for that road going race car. It's actually a
Right.
reverse trike that you then kludgy on a fourth wheel. Yeah. Uh, the easy answer to the question is there is a market segment out there that is serious about buying this car. There is a market need out there that there's a demand for a mid-size wagon. There is a market opportunity for Audi and Audi of America to redefine a market segment. And strategically, there's an opportunity for Audi in general to redefine their image in the Americas. It all adds up. Now, it's going to be, is to your point, is there somebody within Audi who sees, wow, who actually sees those intangibles, and says, let's make a call, let's make a bet on the U.S. consumer,
Right.
and be able to bring a product, and if that requires individuals like you and I to go in and say, here's, put the money where the mouth is, happy to. As long
I,
as you are given the opportunity to spec a car that meets your
yeah,
requirement. I'm not going to take something that just shoved down my throat, you know?
I do wonder. I have to imagine there are more people like me in this. Where I'm going with that is, if I knew the RS5 Avant were coming, I would do what I do typically, which is I will wait. I don't need to be the first person. I will wait for a cool spec car to show up with low mileage and used early on and
Hmm.
poach it, like which is what how I got my RS6 tribute.
Right, right, right,
And somebody let somebody else take the off the lot depreciation hit.
right.
So that's what I will normally do. However, if I, as somebody who genuinely cares about the brand and loves those cars, knew that like my putting my money where my mouth was to like lock down a unit in order to help them hit the number to get it here to market,
Right.
especially if there was some way to like, I don't know, celebrate those people in some way, right? Like publicly celebrate that like these are the people who are stepping up to make this car happen
Right.
for this market. I would probably buy new in
Yep.
that case.
Yep.
But, that's the hard part is like we're talking about so many factors of coloring outside the lines when it comes to the normal standard practices
Too
for
many variables.
it requires a bold sort of commitment to wanting to try and change things up and shake things up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with new leadership, dude, it's poised, right? Like,
It is, it is. But to your point, listen, and to make it equitable for everybody, the enthusiasts as well as the corporation, right? If everybody comes together and says, like you say, let's celebrate the revitalization of the RS brand in the Americas, right? Because we always get like seconds, right? Even the RS6, we never got the C7. Um, we're going to go double down, and to your point, let's celebrate us coming together. Um, let's make sure we take care of the enthusiasts, and let's find a way. It's an equitable thing, all of us, most of us are going to step up and say, yep, you know what,
yeah,
I'll put my money where my mouth is, and let's go, right? And let's open up the AE catalog, the Audi exclusive catalog, and let's build unique cars. And think, just imagine, right? Fast forward a year from now, and you have all these unique RS5s driving around. Like you hardly see any RS6s, let alone a tribute, right?
right.
It's funny enough is, I get more thumbs up. I've been using my Tribute for the last 3 days. People are like, "Hey man, great wagon," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool!"
Dude,
Like,
that car gets so much street cred. That's that owning that car for a while. I miss it for like you can drive into any Cars and Coffee
right,
anywhere.
right,
What other
right,
wagon could you get that? I mean, there are other wagons that get attention, don't get me wrong.
right,
But
right, right.
yeah, I guess I'll throw in a couple other ideas just for the benefit of maybe people who have Audi.de or Audi.com in their email. It is here are a couple other things they could do to change this up. In addition to that exclusive, like you're talking about, open up for these. If you're gonna do like producer level, whatever, founder level, whatever these people are who could pre-order these cars, let's pretend that fantasy is a reality, right? Throw in a package for European delivery. European delivery was a
Oh,
program that was closed years ago that I'm
right,
sure they could reopen, maybe not ongoing, but that would be another motivator to short of like calling up Jamie Orr and shipping your own car back to Germany to
right,
drive it over there, or like open air imports, or calling one of those guys to try and ship your car over. European delivery is something that's like most people can't have anymore unless you're maybe Porsche and a very select few others. And so to open it up for special cases like this, I would imagine this could be like an early follow this model for RS5 and you could do it for every specialty model from here on in, right? You got this
yep,
kind of like producer. There's a podcast I listen to that where they if you give them money on Patreon
right,
or whatever, they call you a producer,
right,
right?
right, right, right.
But like whatever, like you're kind of an investor in the company, if you will, and whatever word you want to use because you're not giving them shares, but something that makes them feel special. And every time a new model comes out, you have people who pull that model into the market.
Right.
Like, yeah, America, you want the RS3 Sportback? We can do it. We
There
need
you go.
10,000 orders.
Yep,
Go.
yep, yep, yep. No, I think so. I think there's, that when you're at the bottom, you can only go up, right? And I think
Right.
this is the prime moment to summarize, right? This could be one of many discussions we can have, and I'm hoping, um, the more things line up and look promising. So if I know more information, I'll reach out to you. But I'll keep hoping and trying to push. Actually, funny enough, is I had sent Daniel Weisland a note earlier this week saying, "Hey, excited to see the RS5 being released. He's an astute leader, and we as enthusiasts, right? Tara and I, we would love for, and our friends would love to acquire an RS5, and we'd love to see one on the US roads. I'm going to do the same with Vito, right?
Right.
Going to congratulate him on his new appointment and put it out there that we are hoping that with his leadership, that we will see some change in the Americas and hopefully as one of the early indicators would be for him to push for the RS5 to come to the US. So yeah, really, really
It'd be
looking forward to
cool.
that.
On as we're wrapping this up, what platform is your um
It's on change.org.
so change.org? It,
Change.org.
it and it may not be sign them both. I know of at least um one other one that popped up about a week. I think it was like the day the photos leaked. Somebody had one that they were pushing in like the B10 Audi forum or group on Facebook. So there might be multiple petitions out there, but sign them all, particularly if you're interested in buying one. And I will make sure to include it in the show notes for this show. And also, we'll run a story on. I saw Audi Club ran a story yesterday, maybe. And I'll get a story on Pourings if you know, as well. Hopefully, we can message it. Would love to see it happen. And like I said, I'll probably step up and buy one if it makes a difference. Otherwise, when it's in market, I'll definitely buy one at some point.
No, no, absolutely. So yeah, you're right. I just looked at change.org. There is one that has 37 signatures, has bring the RS5 but the decision maker is Audi AG. There's another one that has 70 signatures, and then there's one that's mine, which has 1,715 signatures. So yeah, I guess a lot of people supporting this, and Audi Club also supported this. So looking forward to that. And actually, I'm going to copy the change.org thing and send it to the new CEO of Audi America.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, good. Hey, George, great chatting with you. I'm sure we'll be catching up, but thank you for sharing that lovely yellow Porsche with me. Um,
It's a
that
shame
was,
you're not going to buy it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. If funny story I'll leave you with is yellow is unfortunately Tara's color that I think it's the bottom of the barrel. We actually had an opportunity to pick up a Ferrari Fly Yellow one of one 964 RS.
Sounds cool.
Beautiful color, beautiful car, truly a one of one.
Maybe make an exception on that car.
No, there's no exceptions
Tara,
with my beautiful wife.
Tara, what are you doing, Tara?
Nope, no yellow cars. I even had a 997 GT2, and now the car's absolutely bonkers in price, but at that time was available. The guy was going through a divorce, needed cash. 997 GT2. Nope, was yellow.
Before you drop, do you know who Todd Blue of the
Uh-huh.
Lapis
Uh-huh.
collection is? I
Yep.
figure your affinity for blue, you should probably watch his collection. Because I
Yeah,
remember
so he actually liquidated his collection, part of his collection actually. A friend of
last year
mine.
at Amelia, right? The
Mhm.
968 Turbo and
Yeah, so he got rid of his 9923 RS. He was the first one that I know of that got tinted carbon from Sonderwunsch. So a friend of mine here locally in Tampa, he's got a Copa Florio, which is a historic blue, the light blue color,
right.
GT3 RS with Copa Florio wheels and with blue tinted carbon Weissach. It's a beautiful color,
Sounds
beautiful
cool.
car. Dear friend of mine. So that was Todd Blue's original car. Todd sold a lot of his cars, unfortunately, but um, I wish I knew, but it went to, they privately sold to a lot of the dealers who acquired them, and then now
Yeah.
are either consigned them or sold them to people who were in the know.
Yeah. It's not blue, but there's a silver 968 turbo going up at I think Broad Arrow has it for this year at Amelia.
They do have quite a few Porsches actually headlining. So anybody looking at that 997.23 RS, the white one, I would a PSA for everyone that's looking for that car. Just Google that VIN.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Just
check
Google
that.
that VIN or check that car out. Just search for it on Rent you'll know. It's actually going without reserve.
Yeah.
Uh 450 to 550 for a 997.23 RS. Yeah.
See
Good
Broad
enough.
Arrow is taking the quail spot,
They
making
are
moves.
making moves. Why?
Probably
Because
probably not making friends in their competition, but they're
well,
making moves.
but have you seen? I'll leave you with one observation. So have you seen DuPont acquiring a lot of the events?
A lot of
DuPont registry.
events.
DuPont registry. Yep. DuPont
They're
registry.
Yeah, I know they've been, and they launched a new platform, didn't they?
Yeah, but they just bought Spot.
That's right.
They executed that acquisition. They bought cars on Fifth and Naples. Yeah, so they're moving brick and mortar as well as online. So head to head, I think it's going to be RM, um, Haggerty, and DuPont going duking it out. I think the last independent show that's of a certain caliber is the Bridge,
Hmm.
right?
What about
Uh,
Audrain? Is that owned by
Uh, Audrey's not owned by anybody, but
Audrain's the museum?
yeah, Audrey's a museum, but they do have a car event. But I think, with Amelia gone, well, you have Car Week, you have Monterey. That's not,
Right.
that's independent. The Bridge is the other one. It Bridgehampton, if you don't know,
Yeah.
it's the event. Actually, we'll be participating. We'll be displaying the 3RS this year at the Bridge.
Oh, are you?
Been invited, yeah. So we're gonna enjoy going back to the Long Island roots for Tara.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
you should
think
come.
yeah, maybe I will. Get me a ticket or let me know
Hey,
how to get in.
I will have absolutely. You can be my guest.
There you go.
All right, sounds good.
Karen might be jealous.
Well, she's coming too. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
All right,
let me know. It's not a
it's
long drive for me, so maybe I'll come out. I
all right.
keep thinking I need to get there, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's a great event. Once I know more details, I'll let you know. Cool.
Cool, man.
All right. Good
All
chatting
right.
with you. All right.
Take care. Thanks for your
Years to
time.
the RS5 come to the US, please.
Fingers crossed. I'm in
Cheers.
with you if they do.
All right. Cheers. Goodbye.
The Taylor Driver Podcast is part of the Weekly Driver podcast series. Seeking more than the sea of monotone in today's automotive landscape? So are we. Taylor Driver exists just beyond the intersection of obsessive and compulsive. For those who see the brochure as merely a starting point and have the drive to execute their dreams. Taylor Driver covers the factory tailors such as Ad Personam by Lamborghini, Audi Exclusive, Atelier Ferrari, BMW Individual, Fiora Seri by Maserati, Manufacture by Mercedes-Benz, Porsche Paint to Sample and Sonderwunsch, Q by Aston Martin, McLaren Special Operations, Mulliner by Bentley, and so many more. It covers limited production special editions as well as personalization from carrozzeria like Pininfarina and the world of remasters, including firms such as Singer Vehicle Design, Gunter Works, and Alphaholics. Visit TaylorDriver.com to see it all, or follow Taylor Driver on your favorite social media channels and YouTube.